gets tough, it's easier to quit.
Oh no.
Bring
Canceled.
on the racism.
Canceled. Gonna buy some merch.
Wait, what is? I couldn't find. Hold on. I don't know why. Every time I talk to you, Apple Music opens. I'm not even a member of Apple Music, and I don't know what it's weird. Never
Delete
mind.
your app.
It's what?
Delete your app.
I know. Can you do that on a Mac?
Yeah. Yeah.
No. All right.
Yeah. You just click the left part of the mouse.
Okay. All right.
Let me see if
I'll get right on that.
Go to options.
Yeah.
Remove. Yeah.
Hold on. Somebody's texting me.
Oh, really? Who's texting?
Yeah. So you're recording this? Can you delete this next section?
I don't really delete anything. It's all about the real interaction between two banged up comics.
Yeah. That's what Shane Gillis said when he was on the podcast that canceled his career and then revivified it or whatever.
I didn't record the accent thing.
What's that?
I didn't record the accent thing. That was after.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah. I'm just saying, no, I might do something that might, ruin my career. But you're recording. Are you recording now? Yes, you are recording. This meeting is being recorded
now.
Now that you finish your racist rant, you're recording. Okay. Can I just state for the record that Dustin Chafin, previous to this recording, did an accent that would make Mickey Rooney in that movie, whatever, House of Splendor. What was that called? You Can't Take It With You. What was the name of that Mickey Rooney movie where he just degraded?
I don't know. I have 1/16 Native American, so I'm immune to any racist
I know
comments.
How long are you going to use that card?
As long as I still have it. I get free health care, so I'm going to use that card as long as I can.
Wait a minute. Do you really get free health care?
Yeah. I mean, I have to go to Oklahoma, but I mean, it's like I have all the benefits. The benefits. I could get like a business loan. I can get health care.
And how much Native American? Right. How much Native American do you have to qualify to be that, to get all that goodies?
I think it's like 1/25th. I'm 1/16th, so
okay.
Yeah, so it's like enough.
So there's that 23andMe might be worth it if I take a shot. I hope somebody in my family had sex with a Chippewa.
Yeah, well, the Chippewa, they have to recognize you. It's a whole process. It's a lot more difficult than you think. Like you have to kind of like prove. You got to have a birth certificate from the grandfather. You can't just go off a DNA test you bought on Amazon. Like you got to go through a process. Well, I'll start there. I just last night went to premiere of Kevin Costner's new movie Horizon. Which is pretty cool. He was there. He talked and everything. And it's always so funny to me, being somebody who has a little bit of Native, is, how every Native character is, portrayed. We just murdering people, or we're getting murdered.
Wait. Okay, so I thought they'd overcorrect the other way at this point. Meaning they'd make them the most noble people, which is almost more equally embarrassing in a different direction. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're not in the first half. The first half, we're just murdering white people, which I got pretty excited about. It's kind of nice. Right. It's like we're just like it's like it's a settlers movie, like the settlers, a chuck wagon, that kind of thing. And they're just burning up everything, murdering everybody. It's the Apaches give us a bad name. The Apaches were the cold-blooded, but it's just funny. Like, would it kill you to just have like a rom-com, with a Native American? Well, how come we always had to be a murdered Indian or something like that? It's like have one just play a doctor once, or like he's a tech guy. Well, I guess that's the other Indian, but it's never it's always just the same. I mean, since John Wayne, it's just like the same Native. The Scorsese last year did the movie with all the natives. I don't know.
Okay, right.
Something
I guess that's a tricky it's one of those tricky things because usually when it's a minority group that has been, kind of like portrayed either in I mean, if you want to
black
see
people
like,
get to be everything. They get to be
yeah,
boxers and love interest and everything.
yeah.
Native is
But,
always on the plane with a bow. Like,
well, I mean, but aren't there fewer Native American? What's the percentage in America that Native Americans and black people? That's a really good question. Because if there's not a more, you know what I mean? They don't have any Amish heroes either. You know what I mean?
well,
I mean, if you're
hey, they had an Amish guy bowling. That's pretty progressive.
There you go. You got Kingpin, and you got the Witness or whatever that movie was with Harrison Ford and
that little kid had a lot of. It was a pretty complex character,
Exactly.
There's never a complex Native American character. He's either wise, noble,
yes,
wisdom, or he's just murdering white people with a bow. It's never any in between.
Right. But I mean, if you're in a particular minority group, right? Like, I can see where this would be an issue where you're like, well, why don't they have that? Because, well, somebody thinks that there's not a market for that, and the ruthlessness of capitalism being what it is that determines the market. They go, there's not a big market for an Amish. There's not if we do make about a crime fighting Amish guy, is there going to be
love to see
I would love to see that movie.
Amish, he puts his head in a butter churner, just like crushing it.
Yeah.
He's like,
that's how he kills people.
They knock the building down. They put it up by sunrise.
That's hilarious. You know what? I think I got a movie pitch. We have a movie pitch already on this show. We have a movie pitch. He fights crime. He's an Amish. He's like an Amish superhero. Like he fights crime old school. With a butter churner.
Jebediah coming near you. To a theater near you. He can't watch the movie, but
they mess with the wrong farmer. Right, they mess with the wrong farmer this time. Right. It's just
that actually might be really funny.
It's hilarious.
That's almost worth a short.
Well, I mean, if we did a deep dive on all of this racial shit, we could you're coming from a very interesting perspective because of the whole Native American thing. Okay, but I mean, are there a lot of? Let me ask you this: in China or Korea. They have a thriving movie industry.
Yes.
Right? Yes. Okay. French. France has a long history. Italian movies.
Yeah.
Okay. How many Native American stories are they telling?
They're not telling too many.
I rest my case. Why is America getting singled out? Because we're not hiring, but neither is anyone else in the cinematic universe. Okay. I'm partially joking and also partially being weirdly serious because I don't even know, because probably what I'm saying is offensive and racist on numerous levels. But my point being that they always talk about America and our racism. And because we have I always say this, you know why we have racism? Because we have the number one ingredient you need to have a lot of racism. Races. We have races. A lot of other countries don't have that. Yugoslavia does not have races to be racist against. Okay, so that's not an excuse to be racist. It's just a recognition that American people are racist, human beings, because we have two eyes that see differences, and that we like symmetry and everything to look good, and we scan for threats or some weird shit. I don't know what it is in the human DNA, but there's something that causes racism when people perceive anyone that's different or the other. I mean, I was in school, you see people getting beaten up because they're, dorky, and that's different. So they got, you know what I mean? That those people have to take it. I don't fucking know what I'm saying. I'm just trying to excuse my own.
I will go back to your comment about the international film industry. And it's like, but let's say it's a French movie, and they're not having a French guy play a Polish guy. They'll actually have a Polish guy. Whereas in America, they'll have like somebody, like back in the day, like, John Wayne played Genghis Khan, whatever.
Like right, but you can't. Yes, but you can't do that nowadays.
Blue Diamond Phillips basically played every minority.
Yes, Lou Diamond Phillips. Lou Diamond Phillips is like the Zelig of like, he's just
he was native. He looks like he was a Mexican. Like he played everything.
But I think Charles Bronson was that too, because Charles Bronson was known for the fact that you would look at Charles Bronson and go, "What the fuck are you?" Because he could be anybody, right? Charles Bronson had that weird look that he could be Hispanic, he could be, Serbian, and you'd buy it. He could be Mexican. He could, had no idea where he was from, and so he played a lot of characters because of that. So so I don't know where we're going with this, but basically what you're saying,
it's good. It's good.
No, it can.
It's good chat.
It needs to go somewhere. I say it needs to go somewhere. This has to make a point. Because you've got a bull steer on your head, right? I don't know what you've got a hat with something. This is just before, ladies and gentlemen, just before Ruth's Chris Steakhouse got a hold of this. Right? This is before
representing Astoria, New York.
Yeah. No, I mean, like let's segue into Caitlin Clark here, because Caitlin, Now that's a fascinating story. Because I've never seen so many guys who have absolutely no interest in the WNBA, and still don't. By the way, none of the guys arguing online. There's a guy online on my feed that said that he's railing on I know it's Facebook, so it doesn't matter, but it really doesn't represent reality. But people railing about the fact that all these these black female black athletes are racist against Caitlin Clark. And I wanted to, all I have to do to shut the conversation down is say, that might be true, but can you name 3 teams in the WNBA? Like, when did you show up at the party, right? Like that it's really interesting that you're just deciding that, this is something I can hang my usual grudge stuff on and talk about, even though I really don't give a rat's ass about any of it. It's just, something I go, black people are racist too, just like me. Okay, just say that. You know what I mean? Like, that's your whole point.
But every PR news story makes the sport popular. You know what I mean? It's like, like Joe Namath acting the way he did made NFL more popular, and certain things happen and people get more excited about it.
Right, but it's a Rorschach test. Like to see how people. Caitlin Clark is obviously the interest in Caitlin Clark. The fact that she's white is
the fact that she drops threes is
right.
Is what's exciting about it. And
exactly.
That's what we get away from.
She's good. That's the thing. It's like there's white players in the WNBA and they suck. Okay, so this is what I don't understand is like it's one of these things that like people go, oh, she's only popular because she's white. Well, she's also good. Is she better than the other players? Of course not. Like nobody's saying that. She's better than everybody else. She isn't yet. Maybe she could be. Who the fuck knows? I don't fucking know.
But the bottom line too is men don't like watching women play sports. That's the bottom line. They don't want women out there all sweaty with the hair in a ponytail. The closest, we'll let you ice skate,
unless it's volleyball. And you're wearing a skimpy outfit. That's
Brazilian volleyball is an exception.
Yes,
but I feel like, but even that should be more popular than it is, and it's not.
Any Brazilian.
But how's that not popular? That should be huge.
They should be videotaping women getting Brazilians. I'd pay for that.
Oh, come on now, you're classier than that, Brian.
All right, you can edit this out in post.
I'm not. But and there's no post. Yeah, you got to just watch what you say because I don't have the energy to edit unless it's something that's really going to ruin you, then I'll just sell it to you. Then I'll sell it to you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'll hold it over your head forever. I mean, so we segued from Caitlin Clark, from your problems with the
Brazilian
with your problem with John Wayne
to
your problems with John Wayne. I mean, you want to watch a movie that'll you can't believe it. You know a movie called Zulu? Have you ever heard of it?
Zulu, no.
Yeah, there's a movie called Zulu. I think Michael Caine is in it, and it was like in the 60s.
Of course, Michael Caine is in it.
Yeah, of course, Michael Caine is in it. And basically, it's about a British outpost in, I believe, Kenya or one of their colonies down in South in Africa. And it's about they're being attacked by the Zulu nation. And when I say they're being attacked by the entire, they're attacked by the entire Zulu nation. Like you've never seen such carnage, and it's a small outpost. And the whole point of the film is how heroic this small group of white officers are, and that they can withstand when they have guns, but they're not many. There's like 20 of them, and they're holding this outpost, and they're being overrun by Kenyan warriors, and they kill. You can't even believe how many they kill in this movie. Like I remember as a kid watching this movie, and I didn't even know what was going on, and I thought that's a cool movie. And I watched, and then looking back at it, the racial components of it, where first of all the Brits are the colonizers there.
Yeah,
the Brits are portrayed as the heroes. They slaughter innumerable, they wave upon wave of Kenyan warriors attacking this little outpost, and they're killing them, and they're running out of ammo, and they're like down to their, and they're just the Kenyans have spears, of course, and arrows or whatever, and they kill hundreds of, I mean, just piles and piles of bodies. It's ridiculous. And then, of course, at the end, the Zulu warriors salute them for their bravery, right, and give up attacking the thing, right? They think they're going to be wiped out because massive Zulu at the end. They're down to like 8 guys, I think, or 4 guys or something. Michael Caine being one of them. And I guess one of the Zulus said, "That's Michael Caine. We can't kill him. I like his movies," or something. Right? We don't want to do that.
Yeah, we could have used this group at the Alamo.
Yeah, right.
Really could.
And they salute them and they walk away. And that's what I remember as a small child going, "Oh, what a cool movie." And then I see it now, and I'm like, I can't believe this actually got made. Looking at the politics of it, it's fascinating to see. And I'm not even doing that white thing where you go, we should have known, or whatever. I guess we should, but whatever. The point is that the movie itself is such a time capsule of an attitude that, boy, you could never. That movie is just dark as hell in terms of like it's complete. There's nothing enlightened in that.
Well,
Right?
that's an interesting element too. Is just movies that we grew up on, movies you couldn't do now, which is kind of an interesting concept as well. Where it's just like I mean, we grew up on inappropriateness. Every like teenage movie, the guy was a little stalkery or or inappropriate. Misogyny was just like
totally.
Up until 9 to 5, it's like women weren't fighting back,
Yeah. And see, and I have an interesting take on this. I think it's interesting, but like, because people say, "Oh my God, you watch those movies and you can't believe that thing." And I watch a Zulu movie and I can totally see that in that movie. But then I see stuff that's in some of those movies, where it's borderline rape, you know what I mean? Like the girl's passed out, let's fuck her, like an Animal House, and he's a noble guy, so he doesn't have sex with a comatose girl, drunk comatose girl. Is like, what a good guy he is.
So he's a hero.
Like, yeah. Like, and yes, is that in retrospect we're like going, "Oh, that's awful," but there's other things that people don't point out in the lack of enlightenment. And the best example of that of all time is the Uncle Roy sketches from Saturday Night Live with Buck Henry, where he played the babysitting, like a creepy babysitter for Lorraine Newman and Gilda Radner and they played little girls, and he was taking Polaroids of them, and they would lift their skirts up, and he would put change in his pockets, and they would go through his change, and he would go, and if you watch that now, you cannot believe what you're seeing. Like, you cannot believe how creepy this is, right? And no one talks about that sketch because that was an ongoing sketch. Every time Buck Henry was on the show, they did the Uncle Roy sketch. Awesome. It was just like the Fresh Drunk brothers, Steve Martin and Dan Aykroyd. It was like I look forward to, what are they going to do with the Uncle Roy sketch? And nobody blinked. Nobody. And I know people go, if I was back there, I would have seen through that. No, everyone was laughing at that because we didn't know how prevalent, I guess pedophilia was, and that's just disgusting. It was just funny. Everyone watched those things and listen to the audience. There isn't one walkout in that live studio audience. There isn't an outrage. No one wrote, "This is creepy." Everyone just roared along with laughter, and they thought it was funny. Now, in that situation, there's no obvious protected target. You know what I mean? Group. Because like, women, women discriminating. But in that one, it's kids. It's kids. So no one, you know what I'm saying? Like there's nothing that people will go, that people can go, we should have known back then. We should have known. But children, like they're I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. My point being, I don't know what I'm babbling about. But my point being, no one ever brings that up as a point. They always bring up the rape stuff in this 80s movies. They always bring up the racial stuff, and it's obvious. There was a lot of unenlightened thinking, and the Uncle Roy sketch, nobody mentions that, and I don't know why. And I think it's because nobody blinked on that one, and there was nothing in that anyone said, "Oh, that's creepy." Everyone just laughed. They thought it was funny. It's a creepy old man.
I think if you had actual kids, maybe. I think the fact that it was Radner and just, the ridiculousness of them playing, because she was always playing like a child character and stuff.
Yes.
So you were laughing at the actual artist as opposed to laughing at the concept of what it was.
Yeah,
you were laughing at what they were doing and how ridiculous they were acting in the scene as opposed to the content of what was happening, I guess more about the character itself. Or the actor, I guess the comedian itself.
Right. I guess that's true. But could you do that sketch nowadays? It wouldn't be funny, even if they were dressed as kids. People would be like, "Oh my God, that's creepy."
I mean, if you had like Chris Hansen break in, if you had, you could have elements that would make it kind of, if you called out the inappropriateness, maybe that'd be the only way. Yeah, maybe. If you had somebody coming in being a voice of reason, then the sketch works, because it's like, what are you doing? You can't do this.
True. That's true.
Like an HR figure come in and be like, hey, we got to shut this sketch down. That would be. But I mean, way.
And you don't want to be that person who's, you don't want to be that person going, it's just a blank check to say, we didn't know shit back then. All right, let's move on.
Well,
which is true.
It was a cult. America was like this inappropriate cult where it was just like, every other, all the songs from the 60s to the 80s. She was just 17, like all these stuff, daddy, is your daddy home tonight? Like songs were like all about like.
Well, I mean, Springsteen. Springsteen. Hey, little girl, is your daddy home? Did he fail and leave you all alone? I got a bad desire. I mean, wait a minute. Hey, what the fuck?
Is your daddy home? What are you talking about, Steve?
Yeah, exactly.
What are you talking about?
So I mean, and I'm not saying I do get tired of the whole people going, if I was on back then, I would have spoken up. It's like, no, you wouldn't have, because that wasn't the zeitgeist and that wasn't the common belief. When people laughed and didn't even blink about the weirdness of some of that shit, and they thought it was funny. And then you find out later that sexual assault and all those things are way more prevalent than we either wanted to acknowledge or were aware of. And then you go, okay, this is wrong. The power dynamics are of that. I understand that. That's not as that's not funny anymore. Whatever that. Let's rape somebody. Great. And obviously, there's like, okay, that's creepy, and we're moving on. We're moving to a more enlightened place. Like I don't think people, are like, we got to go back to where we can do stuff like that. It's not even that. But there's one thing to say, we can't do that anymore. That's wrong. But we should have known back then. Like no, we didn't. People didn't know. So,
well, our parents weren't around. There was no moral. It was either crazy religious or you just had to figure it out on your own. And so it's like
once again, Gen X is the best. Gen X is the coolest generation. Every generation other than us sucks.
Most of us are in therapy, but it's definitely,
Yes, we're in therapy, but like you gotta give something to get something.
I remember somebody, I had a joke. I was like, somebody called me a boomer, and like calling a Gen Xer a boomer is like the N-word to a Gen Xer. You know what I mean? You're just like,
that's funny.
That is the last thing you want to hear. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like we didn't have Vietnam. We had a Platoon on DVD. Like we are not the same. This is not, don't even, because kids throw that around. They throw anything that's the Gen Zs and all that. They just throw around boomer to anybody who's older than them. And it's just like, you got to at least be specific with your insults. Like, don't say,
Yeah.
lump me up with a Nixon generation. Like I'm not, I'm not, I wasn't born. I wasn't a part of that. Like you can't,
the worst, the worst.
It's just
The
like, I hate
boomers
it.
are the worst. The boomers are the worst. Okay. I think, I don't know. It's a battle for second place on who's the worst
But
between them.
they're the best, like the boomers that stayed hippies were pretty great. It's just like they were all hippies. And then somehow this, like, it's almost like this sect, just like branched off into these ridiculous adults.
Wait, now who's the one that stayed hippies that stayed cool?
Well, there's plenty of old hippies around, Tommy Chong's around, there's a lot of hippies around,
right.
There's people that stayed the course of kind of like, just not going corporate and being kind of like open and kind to people. I would want to think that there's quite a few people that stayed that course.
Oh, I think so. I think that generation.
But
I
it's
think
the
Carlin,
weirdest thing. Like I have a Trumper uncle, right? And he was really into the Beatles. And I just want to be like, dude, do you even understand the Beatles? How can you like be like this guy that was young into the Beatles and then now you're this? And it's just like the Beatles were the opposite of what you're projecting now. Like it was, it was love and peace and all that stuff. And like you don't even like the fact that you could go from that to where you are now is like hilarious to me.
Well, I mean, but if you, I still don't get the whole. I mean, I don't know what kind of intellectual jujitsu you have to perform on your frontal lobes to call yourself a Christian.
Yeah,
and that just I'm amazed by that. I'm amazed by the whole Christian thing, where Christianity, where everything that Jesus stood for. I mean, it sounds like a cliche. Everyone online going, you're a real Christian. It's like, but really, when you break it down, they'd kill Christ in a heartbeat. Like there's nothing about Jesus's teachings that aligns with anything that you espouse or believe in. I mean, it's amazing. Like there's no connective tissue between the ideology that a lot of people espouse Christianity.
The cult mentality is really fascinating to me because it's like I have a funny personal thing with like, I joined a cult when I was, young, and then my father kind of ostracized me for it, tried to get me out of it. And then later in life,
what was this cult? What was this cult? Do I know about this?
Later in life, he joined a cult. And then he passed away, and the whole thing was about like when we were at the funeral, we had some book written by this guy. It's like the Good News Church. I was a Mormon. That's my cult.
Right. Yeah,
and
I know.
So that's the cult.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was okay. All right.
No, I wasn't in the woods wearing, a white outfit or anything.
Wait a minute. I thought, wait a minute. You joined the Mormons on your own. It wasn't a family thing.
Yes.
Oh, so you got into the Mormons by some guy just handing you a pamphlet or
something? By a really hot girl from Utah.
Got it.
In high school. Okay. I dated a Mormon girl in high school.
Got it. And she got you into the.
She kind of got me into it when we broke up. She was basically like, you're not Mormon, so this isn't going to work. So I joined to spite her. I joined and then became super Mormon. And I was like, I'll show you. And then I'm a missionary and all that stuff. So that was my way. Most guys, like, they break up with somebody, they get successful or work out. I joined Mormon church. And
so wait, she broke up with you, and wait a minute, you joined the Mormon church to get with this girl, then she dumped you, and then you became a big one.
Super Mormon, yeah.
After you broke up.
Well, I got baptized right in the beginning, and then but then we weren't good. Like we were like breaking all the laws of the church and everything.
Yeah.
Sexual intercourse, all that stuff. And so she felt bad, felt guilty. And then I turned the leaf of just kind of being, I'm going to be a Mormon. I'm going to do this stuff. I don't know if it was to win her back, or it was to piss her off, or it was to show her or whatever. But it was basically, it was basically to spite, I think, was to be like, I can't be Mormon. I'll show you. And then I'm wearing a name tag, and I'm riding a bicycle in South America, speaking Spanish, holding a Book of Mormon, that kind of thing.
Fantastic.
So
okay.
That's my journey. That's my journey, Brian.
Yeah. No, that's fascinating.
But the cult. Then the thing about the cult is funny to me because my father would have like when I did join the church and like legit and was going to church, the Mormon church or whatever. he would have a preacher. Like I would get home from school and there would be a preacher in the living room ready to battle scripture with me and prove to me that the Mormons were, you know, a Satanist cult or whatever. And so I'd come home and from school and there'd be a guy in a 3-piece suit with a Bible in his hand, just ready to go. And so,
that's hilarious.
And my dad would buy all these movies, like these movies that like prove that the Mormons were a cult, and not a, you know, give me all these books that, you know, all these stuff on Mormonism being a cult and all this stuff. So it was like he really like was hammering me. And then later in life, he joined this Korean Christian cult thing, which is basically he married a Korean woman. And then he like got part of this. It's called the Good News Church, and they're just like you know, it's borderline close to like, you know, drinking the Kool-Aid kind of thing. And it's like, but they use the Bible to save themselves. That's what a lot of these things do. You know, they use the Bible as kind of this like cusp. It's like, well, we can't be that culty. We believe in the Bible. You know,
right.
The Mormons do it as well.
Yeah, I never, I don't know why I never got into like any kind of cult shit. I always was like incredibly like wary of any religion, or I just never understood because I was raised Catholic, and I never understood when I would go to church and everybody would be giving everyone the finger after church, like in the parking lot, and being really mean to everybody else. And I didn't see any representation of any of that stuff. So it never spoke to me. It just seemed like a performative act of something you did, but nobody lived it. And I so there was nothing about it that spoke to me. Like I would see everyone going to church on Sunday, like, hey, look what we're doing. Now don't kill me, God. Don't send me to hell. All right. Now I'm out of church. Now I can be an asshole again. So I never, nothing about it like made sense.
It seemed a little like you had a little more stability. Where with me is like, you know, just cops were called, the household was crazy. So the Mormons representing kind of this like other life. I didn't want to be anything like these people, so I would rather be Mormon than be like these people. And so I think it was like, you know, you go over to their house and they're like cooking dinner and talking to each other.
Oh my God,
so
the like Mormon families.
The family dynamic was very loving and caring. And so I think that's what I was drawn to, is this like this opposite of my upbringing.
Yeah. So I can see that.
So that's like when you're just kind of a lost teenager, it's like easy to get caught up in that. Because all you want is love and stability.
Because those families are amazing. Like the support system of the Mormon community is breathtakingly cool. Like in terms of like just community. You're in a jam. Support.
They have a night dedicated to family. Monday nights are family home evening night. Everybody just turns the TV off.
I know.
Hangs out.
It's amazing, and I wish you could do it without the weirdness of that. You know, like I wish you could have. I don't want to. I'm not trashing them. I'm just saying that, like, well, maybe I am, but I'm saying, you know, it's a shame that we can't have community.
I'm still searching for that. Like we were thinking about going to a church and stuff. It's like, maybe we'll try Episcopal church. There's one down the street. It seems less weird. A gay couple walked in. That seems good. It seems normal. It seems like open. But that's the thing. If you could do religion without the weird, then I think it's like, you know, it's like just like Catholicism. The idea of it is great. And then, you know, but then you gotta like, you know, hold a rosary bead. You got to believe in all these saints. You got to go into a confession booth. And then you got all the lingering sexual stuff going on. It's like every church has this thing where it's like it's almost great, and then they just like there's just some weird shit to it. That you have to
molest. You have to molest children if you want to be. You know what I mean? Like you have to do that.
But just the, you know, the idea of all the, you know, it's like community is great, and I think that's why people, you know, like AA is like. I think the reason that AA is popular is because it's like you get to like
community.
It's a community. You get to like be like, hey, I drank too much. Hey, me too. Hey, you want to go bowling? You know what I mean? Like it's just, you know,
no, I know.
That's all
it's
you
like
want.
Weird. And this is like you and me, like guys always need like an excuse to hang for camaraderie. Like let's do a podcast before we go to a ball game. You know what I mean? Like, But we just want to say, hey, why don't we just hang out? You know what I mean? But we have to have a pretext. Otherwise, we're gay.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
I can't just call you and ask you how you're doing. We have to have some sort of element to it.
Some fake kabuki dance. That's what this whole thing is about. This is what this podcast is about. It's just a rickety a staging ground for you and I to be friends, right?
Yeah, well, friends, that's an interesting element because it's like friends. Yeah, guy friends is such a complicated thing. Like if we didn't go to high school together,
yes,
or work together or any
Yeah.
sort of thing that's like, a reason for us to be friends. Because every other friends is like location, who you grew up around. Those are always like, those are my close friends because we live 3 houses from each other,
Yeah.
You can't just make new friends. When you're a guy girls do it all the time. But when guys make for new friends, it feels
we're not allowed.
Yeah, it feels like something's off. And then there's the gay element. Like when I find people I like all the time, and I'll be like, dude, I really like you, man. I'd like to hang out with you. But you can't say that to a guy.
You can't do it. You can't do it. It's not acceptable. And so that's why every guy is miserable and depressed and on fentanyl or whatever, because we're not allowed to have like any kind of vulnerable camaraderie or connection. So we have to go, you want to go to a ball game or watch an MMA fight or something.
Yeah, but we have something that puts masculinity into it. Like you can't
exactly.
But maybe I like to do things that are masculine. Like I'd be like, hey, you want to go shopping?
Let's
you like
go to
jackets?
An art museum. Let's go shopping together.
I like, hey, you like British flags? I know a place to get good British jackets. Brian, let's go.
Let's go shopping.
We would love that.
When was the last time? Yeah, when was the last time you and a friend said, let's go shopping? A male friend, let's go shopping because you can't. Legally, I don't even think that's legal. You're not allowed to do that in our culture.
I'd love to go shopping with a dude. Just be like, hey.
I understand. But see, we can talk about this. I know we can't, but if we can actually, we're lucky we can talk about this because we'll never have to do it because you're in LA, right? So we don't have to, you know what I mean? It's like we don't have to test this. We don't have to means test this and or stress test this because we can talk about it freely. But if you were here, and like, hey, Dustin, you want to go? Now, you and I could probably do it because we're fairly vulnerable guys with each other. So we can sort of like, we've crossed that bridge so we can get away with it. But that's not an easy sell, to the average male, person that you're friendly with or whatever. Yeah. Hey, you want to go shopping tomorrow?
But I think we should try it as an experiment. Next time you meet like a comic or a friend or somebody, when you're like getting on like conversationally, but just be like, and then at the end of it, just be like, hey, man, you want to go shopping next week? I think we should just try it just to watch for the reaction of
I know, because shopping is a very lonely and fucking annoying thing. You know what I mean? Like you go and shop with another guy so you get another dynamic and a view. That would be awesome. But you can't legally. I don't think we're allowed.
Yeah, and if you tried something on, it's like and then just the idea of me going, "Hey, that looks good on you," is just like, oh my god, like that's just a whole nother.
I know. It's just a big bag of wrong, right? There's like it's and yet there's nothing wrong with it except like we can't do it. It's verboten. There's nothing really bad about it. It's nothing but good. Yeah, and yet we can't.
Well, I've been listening to like clips and stuff of like rappers who like were saying that like basically saying P. Diddy's gay because he would take rappers shopping. Like that was part of like the whole thing. He'd be like taking a shot. Hey, you want to go shop? I think he did do that, and everybody claims he's gay because of like that's part of one of the things that people just accuse him of, just because men don't do that. Men don't take each other shopping. They don't spend money on each other. That's another thing. If I want to buy you a gift just because I think you're a cool dude, like, I can't just get you a gift. I can't just send you like a sweatshirt that was Springsteen on it or something. You'd be I mean, I guess we could at this point, but I feel like just the idea of it's still going to red flag.
We could, but we probably won't.
Oh, we won't. We definitely
we could, and we probably should. Yeah. And it would probably be good if we did, but we probably won't. Because the overriding insanity of being a man circa 2024 in America, and I'm not saying it wasn't any different in Vietnam or anything else, but you're not technically supposed to do that. But there was community at a different time. Yeah.
Yeah. I've had a girl actually say to me and my friend, like this guy, Anthony, guitar guy, we're buddies. And like in New York, we're just always hanging out. We go to the diner after the shows. We'd always, we'd giggle with each other, be funny, whatever. And she literally said it to someone else, like that relationship is not natural. Like there's something. And I was like, why is it not natural? Because we're buddies and like, we're always together. Like that's nobody's pulling dicks out. We're just hanging out. Like, what are you doing?
Not yet anyway. Right. Give us time. Okay. It's
like it always goes there. Like it's like, but there is something. I think the interesting element to this whole thing is the construct of masculinity, of being a man, and what our generation, what that is. I mean, it's definitely different now. I mean, kids, the Gen Zs have a different relationship with all that stuff. And
I don't know what their relationship with is, other than a general sense of overall hostility, except because what I hear in the masculinity world, all I hear is patriarchy, toxic masculinity, the future is female, smash the patriarchy. I never hear, and this is so obvious to like the hostility. And there's a great video I saw about this from a female perspective, saying that, and I know this from my own upbringing, that my mother was someone who was wounded, and women have been wounded by masculinity, by the masculine over decades and hundreds of years. And because of that, there's a revenge factor that comes in when women have male children, which I experienced firsthand. And my mom, she was very hostile to me and my brother, more friendly to my sister because she was like her, but she took out her anger on the oppression of her own experience on her male children. And this is a very common dynamic with, and that is the creepiest thing, because what it does is, and this woman was saying that we don't see, they talk about toxic masculinity, and I always say there's no such thing as toxic masculinity. There's masculinity, which is real masculinity, and then whatever this is, that is not masculinity. Stop labeling that toxic masculinity, because that's not even masculinity. A guy who's controlling and abusive, that's not masculinity, like on any level. So I always say, stop using the word toxic masculinity. It's insulting, because you never hear toxic femininity, because people just go, oh, that doesn't exist. Okay, there's no such thing as toxic masculinity. There's only masculinity, which we're exercising, which people want to get at. That's good. Hurts the thing, because we're getting rid of it. Men suck, and men get rid of men, and stop mansplaining and all this shit. And it's like, okay, you're really throwing the man out with the bathwater here. Okay, and that's really unhealthy. But what are we,
Yeah. Well, yeah, and also I think there's the unrecognized, male, which is, like with me, it's like I, love going to an art museum, but at the same time, I love to arm wrestle.
Yeah.
Like, so
right.
It's like
so there's nothing. Yes.
There's like there's parts of me that are just like old school. Come on, I'm a sailor. And then there's just
exactly.
like I love post-impressionism. So it's like it's just a it's a funny like men are evolving into but we never get that credit. It's always like the the sins of the past is what we're always measured up to.
It's ridiculous. And so what you want to do is the culture now is sort of throwing that out, and they're embracing a kind of absent masculinity. Like I always thought, and so there's no such thing as toxic masculinity, there's only absent masculinity. Because masculinity is just an expression. The term masculinity is a term to describe a basic polarity of the male side of the polarity of biology, and all those qualities are awesome. From aggressiveness to like, as long as it's within reason, those qualities of masculinity are great and should be encouraged and fostered. Just don't be a jerk. It's not that difficult, It's like don't be because that's not masculinity. When a guy is insecure and he fucking beats up a woman or something like that, that's fucking ridiculous. That's like not even close. That's not even the ball. That's the opposite of masculinity. Like,
yeah, well, also, and when that's why men feel threatened by something like the WNBA, because it's basically they're threatened by the fact that a woman can do certain things that a man can do, and they want to like own that. And
well, I wonder what the percentage of guys going to, like, okay, so Caitlin Clark just sold out. The last game got sold out or something, which is awesome. Yeah. And what I think is funny is like everyone is missing the point of this. Like of course people are going because she's white, okay? But since when, I don't understand.
That's
no, but I mean, why is
white.
that?
I don't want to agree. I don't want to.
No, she's good and white. Yeah. I mean, she's a skilled player.
I don't think it's just white. I think it's just she's
good. She's great. She's fascinating to watch. She's like Steph Curry. Yeah, somebody with that skill set.
But she had college records. Like, she was just exciting to watch. If somebody was dropping, I mean,
I'm not saying that she's only, but I'm saying that if she was black and she was doing what she's doing now, I don't think it would be this phenomenon.
That there was a lot of golfers as good as Tiger. It was just in the fact that he wasn't white. Really made him.
Wait a minute, who was as good as Tiger? I mean, that motherfucker. Seriously, they were great golfers, but I even went back and looked at some of the records of Tiger Woods and his amazing record. Like, because white players, I mean, they weren't even looking at him through the lens of race. They were like going, this guy's playing a game that I don't even recognize. Like, he was that good and that dominant and that amazing, like, and I'm not a golf guy, and Jack Nicklaus and all that shit. I don't fucking know, whatever. Yeah. But
Caitlin's dominated the college thing. She's only been in WNBA 2 months, so it's like she was the Tiger of women's college basketball.
No, absolutely. Yeah. And what I'm saying is, I think it's weird that we can't admit that her race has played a factor, because everyone's like guilty about that. And I just go, well, why is that? Why should that be any different from Jeremy Lin? You know what I mean? Like, oh, he's Asian. It's different. It's something like we've never seen somebody play that good who's an Asian player. And they were like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Or in those situations, like, we always see representation as a good thing in like movies, and
sometimes we're just drawn to it. Like, my favorite jazz musician is Stan Getz, and it's like I feel like it's not Coltrane, it's Stan Getz, the white guy,
right?
So it's like it feel like most of the jazz people I like are the white guys, and so I feel like Bill Evans, and it's like Chet Baker, so it's like. And when I listen to it, it's just for some, I just respond to it just differently. I don't know what it is. I'm just more drawn to it.
Okay, so you're saying like people,
and you don't even see the guys, really. You're just hearing it,
Right. I couldn't even tell you. If you told me that half of those people were black, I wouldn't know the difference. But something about that spoke to you.
Yeah.
Something about that spoke to you.
And they happen to be white.
Yeah, and Caitlin Clark isn't that Caitlin Clark is, it's not just because she's white, but because it's a factor in seeing someone who is exhibiting, like, that quick release that she has is very akin to Steph Curry. When I glanced at the games, I go, holy shit, she's fucking released that ball so quick. That's amazing. I don't. That's the thing about Steph Curry that I always thought was amazing, and James Harden and guys like that just and Dame Lillard. That could release the ball without even looking at the basket. Like, that amazes me. Like that always, I couldn't believe it. Like, and she was doing a very similar thing. And I thought, that's an amazing, I haven't seen a female basketball player do it. I'm not sure. I'm not saying there aren't any,
Yeah, there has to be a swing, and I think it's like, and it's okay if there's a swing in far as just like certain races taking something and being good at it. Just when Eminem came out, it was just like, this guy, he's the white rapper, but he's incredible at the rap. Like, he's great. Yeah. He happens to be the white guy, but he's so good at it. And it's just like,
right. But there are people who got into Eminem who have no idea about, Run DMC probably, and the history of rap, and they weren't into it. There's something about the linguistic you know, some of the stuff that Eminem was doing that probably appealed to a lot of people, and hearing that dorky voice.
It was different. It was different.
Yeah, hearing that dorky white voice, you know, forming these amazing couplets, you know, resonated with certain people, and the fact that he was white, like
that's what I'm saying with the black jazz musicians. I'm just something, you know, it's just like it does it. I mean, you know, so.
But these are the these kind of conversations. It's like, this is like always awkward. Like people go, "Oh, you're not supposed to say. You're not even supposed to think." But I don't really understand that, because in so many areas they talk about representation on the screen. Like, it's good to see an Asian girl on the screen, someone who looks like me. And then girls see Caitlin Clark, and white girls see Caitlin Clark, and they see somebody excelling, somebody who's a hero, somebody who's great and dominant or great in college, watching it. So what's wrong? Are we not allowed to have that? Like that?
Well, there's every race is going to have resistance. You know, I've been watching clips where like NBA players, former NBA players, are like complaining about the European League coming over to the NBA, and it's just like saying that they, you know, hurt the game. Like, it was
how.
Just it's not as physical as it was, because we have to play the game for these guys so they can shoot their threes, and, you know, just all kinds of, you know, how players to say stuff.
Are they saying that? Yeah, but that's a rules thing, not a European.
No, but they're saying that the game has changed for these players. Like, it has evolved to protect these players so they can be in the league and do what they do, as far as, you know, shooting the shots that they make and stuff. So it's like a different game as opposed to, you know, 90s basketball, where there was very few European players, and it was just like a different game. And so,
but I thought it was, I always thought it was just that they wanted to open the game up because they thought the physical player of the Pistons and
I would say all that's true. I'm just saying I'm just saying there's always some people resisting, and whether they're resisting Caitlin Clark because they think she's only there because she's white, which
it's always
they're dismissing you know, the play over the white thing, and that's what people do that is wrong. Whereas it's like,
you're saying, and you're saying that's black people doing this.
Well, it's white people too. White people who want to like align themselves with black people. It's those people too. But it's like it's just a, you know, it's an interesting element, you know, where it's just like, you know, and even in, you know, the entertainment world, you know, it's like I pride myself in, you know, when I came up through being a New York comic, it was like, you know, I could work the Latino rooms. I could work the black rooms. My first TV thing was white boys in the hood. Like, we were white guys in front of black audiences, and we were making them laugh. And so it was like, it wasn't about, you know, they were used to getting like Def Jam, where it was, you know, all similar kind of comedians and similar material. And then it was just like, you know, the audiences were, you know, able to kind of take us in too, and we made them laugh. And so it wasn't like just they only needed one type of comedian. And so it's like, I don't know. I think it's good for everything when somebody can like break through and just not just be, you know, and not be the stereotypical thing that you're used to seeing. And I think that's how we evolve. That's how the art evolves, and sports and everything.
It's funny because Eddie Murphy was so like funny and was such a you know, like a rock star, appeared on Saturday Night Live, and those movies, 48 Hours, Trading Places, and Beverly Hills Cop, like in a row, like, you know, and it was funny because I remember going to see all of those movies, was being totally drawn to them. It never, like, and his race was not like, it had nothing to do with it, except he was just cool as shit, you know, like he was just amazingly cool, and obviously so fucking, just hilariously funny. Like, and I was always a Richard Pryor guy anyway, so I loved, you know, that. So Richard just was my hero. Like, so, but seeing Eddie Murphy, like, you never thought about I mean, I don't even know. Like, I don't know. For me, like, watching somebody that comedically just dominantly gifted, like, it was like Michael Jordan, just making scenes just out of nowhere. The scene in the bar in 48 Hours, or scene in the museum in fucking Beverly Hills. I've seen some masterful comic brilliance coming out of that guy, and then you know, and just virtuoso comedy off the charts. It's just and I I don't even know what to make of somebody of that. By the way, what's the movie? The fucking Nutty Professor movie. I always think it's so funny. Nutty Professor. That Eddie Murphy's funniest thing. He said that he got an Academy Award for Dreamgirls. He was nominated.
No, he didn't win it though.
He didn't win.
No,
He didn't win.
no.
He didn't win. And they said, oh, they talk about the look. The look I gave at this one point. It was this great look I gave. He goes, did you see what I did in? Did you see the 18 characters I did in the Nutty Professor? You want to talk about the look that I gave? Do you know how hard it was? I mean, he was laughing at how people zone in on like this dramatic moment in Dreamgirls that was great.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I mean, there's no one on the planet that could do what he did in, like a bunch of other guys may have been able to do the character in Dreamgirls, but not lots, but like they wouldn't have played him with the same amount of dynamism. But Jesus. Watch fucking Nutty Professor.
Yeah.
There's no one on Earth who's ever been born on the planet who could do what Eddie did in those movies.
It's a clinic of character work. It's amazing. It's amazing.
It's epic. It's epic. Anyway, we didn't even write any comedy today. What happened? We did nothing today.
We did nothing, but we did do something. We had our minds are kind of
fertile.
They're further along than
the fertile crescent.
We started.
Yeah.
I was trying to do a thing about. Go ahead.
No, I was saying that like when you do one of these where we're talking for like an hour and then you really like go, okay, are we done now? And I think Rogan is on for 3 hours, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's fascinating because I'm not completely drained right now, but I might be in about 15 or 20 more minutes. You know what I mean? Like not to say that, but 3 hours. I mean, 3.5 hours. Some of those conversations. And
that
kind of amazing.
Kevin Costner movie last night was 3.5 hours.
Wow.
It was just like, and that's part 1. Part 2's coming out in August. So
was it good?
It was pretty good. If you like old school Kevin Costner, Dances with Wolves and like Untouchables and like he's a great movie star. And he's a pretty good director, and he's like, I think he's done some cool stuff. And so, it's a big movie with the score, beautiful, like it's filmed in Utah. It's gorgeous, So it's a good. I always think to myself, oh my God, there's no way I can do another Western movie. And then as soon as I start watching one, I'm like, I love Western movies, and then I get lost in it. But yeah, it was good, but 3 hours is a lot. I thought The Irishman felt like 3 hours, where this didn't quite feel like 3 hours. So
I have not seen The Irishman yet. Still,
it's interesting. With all the CGI stuff's kind of weird. They got like De Niro as a kid, but it's still De Niro, and you're just it's like just hiring a young actor that looks.
I know there's something about that. I think I didn't want to see it because I was like, that's weirding me out.
That's always a weird thing. Yeah, I don't even have a lot today. I have one thing I wanted to talk about, where fidelity, like in relationships, where it's just like, I always feel like when you're in a long-term relationship, you always have to kind of like the idea of looking at someone else and seeing that they're hot or something and being attracted to like the beauty of someone else. To me, I compare it to like knowing what the work it would take to actually pursue that is the same mentality I have when I see a trailer for a new TV show on a streaming service I don't have. It's like, that looks like a great show, but there's no way I'm signing up for MGM Plus. There's no way I'm going through all that to get to whatever.
That's funny.
Like, I'll just look at it from afar and be like, I guess I'm never going to see that because I'm not signing up. I'm not doing all the work it's going to take to get that. So that was kind of a funny,
I'm not going to, and yes, binge watching that might be funny, might be cool, but I'm not binge watching it. What I think that what that would need would be the key thing, and this is how stupidly fragile comedy is. I'm not getting, you said MGM Plus, and that's not bad, but I feel like the name would actually be the punchline of that bit, like to button that up. It's like Pluto TV. I'm not gonna, you know what I mean? Like there's all these like, I'm not gonna get Tubi. Yeah, I'm not going to get the Criterion channel just to get, you know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah, I do have the Criterion channel. The Tubi, the Tubi Plus channel. That's funny. Tubi is a funny word.
You would have to like actually look at what the names of some of these things are. Like, you know, Pluto TV, Tubi TV. There was like a whole bunch of these like, and find the right name for that would be funny. Like where sometimes they try to connote what it is. So like, you know, it's Westerns featuring a lesbian character. That's all it is. Like what, you know, scissoring
lesbian Western,
scissoring streamer, streaming scissoring, you know, Scissor Plus, you know,
it's all about
Scissor TV, you know, like whatever, something like that, you know, or Fat Plus, you know, for plus size women TV, or just, you know, like there's I don't know.
It's just too much. No, it's taking all our money. It's taking all our time. Like the streaming thing is like it's definitely the new addiction, and it's ridiculous. Because
I mean, it's a weird thing. Yeah, it's a weird thing because you used to pay for cable, and then you'd have HBO, and now you're paying to assemble a bunch of channels together. You know, and it's a lot of work, and I'll take ESPN and the.
I mean, that's plus too. If you want ESPN, if you want the good ESPN, you gotta do that like, streaming service.
What's the gay channel? Wasn't there Glee or
don't act like
no
you don't
Logo?
know.
There was like exactly. I knew I was going to walk right into that. Like walk headlong into a ceiling fan on that setup, right. Hey, what's the gay one? Like I don't know. Okay, like I didn't buy it the first time it came out.
See, that's why. See, we have to do that to establish the hetero relationship.
Thank God we dodged a bullet there. Yes, exactly. We have to make fun and like,
call each other gay to not be gay. That's funny.
Yeah, exactly. What about is there a hermaphrodite channel that you just from
all
just for everything
midget like a list of different like
midget TV.
Because we were kids, it was 4 channels, and then now it's just like, symbol. I you know, I have what I
like
got
Pornhub, like Pornhub. And Tubi TV and Logo I think it was Logos or Logo was the gay thing. There was actually like a gay channel. So we have all of these channels, Pluto TV. What's the one that shows old? It's like comfort food TV where it shows all like they show the Carson show on there. Like the old cars. I can't remember the name of it, but it's like
I don't think it's a streamer. I think it's just on Spectrum.
Well, that's what I mean. It's not even a streamer.
TV
it's like,
or something.
We TV or something.
Me.
Like remember
Me.
Me TV. It was like remember the land, you know, remember when everything was good in America, you know? Right. And Me TV, something like that. Like cuz there's a lot of channels like that are actually, and I think it's hilarious that just like that they're adding commercials to like Amazon Plus. And like my business that I used to do commercials that like was getting kicked in the ass by this whole streaming thing. And now that they've wiped out all the competition and everything else, they're putting channels back on the There's something so funny to me about that. The like they got rid of all like Lyft and Uber got rid of all the cab drivers. They put them all out of business. And then because they were cheaper, and now they're jacking their rates up to be what the cab drivers used to, or more than what the cab drivers used to get. That's like a fascinating, ruthless capitalist scumbag move. You know,
well, I think back to what you were saying. I think just the idea of it's like, you know, they always say that like, you know, certain things are a good thing. Like freedom of speech is a good thing. Choice is a good thing. It's like too much choice, not a good thing. Like, you know, and that's what we have now. Because when we were kids, it was like we were forced to watch like shows. Yeah, it was either we watch Happy Days, we watch MASH, we watch, you know, there's only so many choices, you know. And I also think it forced us to watch shows that broadened us because every white kid in America was watching Soul
Roots.
Train.
And
Soul
Roots.
Train, Roots, whatever, you know.
The Jeffersons.
Good Times. Yeah, we're all watching that because it was like the only thing was on. And I think it, you know, that was good because it gave us you know, that's something we would never watch on our own.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if it's like needs to go that deep, but something kind of funny about like
no, but I mean,
forced to watch something. Music
no,
too.
but I mean,
Listen to the radio. We had like,
well, there's something called
stations.
there's something called the paradox of choice. I can't remember it. It's a psychological term, but a paradox of choice. And like more choices do not make us happier or more fulfilled. It actually makes things worse. I don't exactly know what the psychodynamics of it. I should do my research before I come on the show. But but there's something called the paradox of choice.
Yeah. Well, Carlin always said that it's like, it's it makes us appear, it distracts from what is really going on when we have too much choice. Like, it's like we don't have a choice when it comes to like, government and like insurances, but we have, 23 different bagels or whatever. Like it's
and I honestly don't know if my resistance to those things, I think we talked about this before. I still like, I mean, Spotify creeps me out. There's way too much. I don't understand how that's, to me, it's weirdly magical. And I don't mean that in a good way, that something, if I'm allowed to access every song that's ever been recorded instantaneously, somebody's getting screwed in Sri Lanka for that. Somebody's suffering for that. I don't know who it is, but someone along the supply chain is getting screwed, and it's the artists that are getting screwed, because there's no way, like there's something so easy. If you can click on something and there's blood on my keyboard every time I use like I don't even know why I even think that, but there's got to be something wrong with that. And I don't know why I would think that, or even if that's justified, but that can't be a good thing. And so I still, most of the time, I'm downloading, like I find Tom Petty and the best of Tom Petty, and I just find it somewhere on the web or something, because I can't even buy it if I want it. Like you can't even buy music if you want it. This is driving me crazy. I want to support Tom Petty, but I can't. Okay, because you can't even buy an album. I have to go on this fucking Spotify or listen to me. I just want the album. I just want.
You can buy it on Apple. You can buy it on Apple.
I don't think you can, to tell you the truth. I don't think you can. Try it. I used to be able to download it instantaneously to your fucking phone, and you would own it. And you can't do it anymore. You got to buy Apple Music, and you have to pay $9 a month, and then you can do whatever you want. Yeah, and I don't agree with that. I just want Tom Petty, Damn the Torpedoes. I don't want to have access to every song that Tom Petty ever thought about for 5 seconds. And
that's why I'm a vinyl guy. I feel like you can actually own the record. You could play the record.
And now you can't, but we're never, and I know that it's not coming back, and I know that's never going to happen.
It's coming
but
back.
I will.
People buy vinyl.
No, it's not going to replace.
No.
Yeah. It's not coming back anytime soon. It's like what was that? I thought that one of the saddest things when I saw like an actual camera store. Do you remember this? Like in downtown, there was a camera store that opened. No, but I mean one that opened like a couple of years ago. We're going to go old school and have an actual camera. And I remember going in there going, I love the nostalgia that this is communicating. And I feel bad that you're probably going to be closed in 2 weeks, and I wasn't like, it was like the Scotch tape store in Saturday Night Live, if you ever remember that sketch where they just told Scotch tape, and the guy and the wife, it's just a Scotch tape store, and the wife is like, doesn't believe in his vision, and the guy's like, you don't understand, people just have to think about it differently, and now they'll be coming to our store to buy Scotch tape, and she's like, it's like, and I felt so bad for the people that had such love for analog and as opposed to digital, that they wanted to keep that alive. That's a beautiful thing. Unfortunately, in this ruthless dystopian nightmare of neoliberal capitalism, there's no fucking way that is sustainable, And
it's very niche. It's very boutique. It's very it's that you keep it alive. I mean, they're closing Best Buys by the dozen.
Yes,
all that's going to
the soul destroying. Yeah, the soul destroying must continue until all of us and never leave our homes.
I think Best Buy is one of the last places on the planet. Like if you want to buy a turntable or something, you can actually, they have a stereo room. And I always tell people, I go, if you want to know what the 90s was like, go to the stereo room at Best Buy. And it's it's amazing. You just turn the speakers up and it's like, that's what it used to be. You felt the experience before you bought the product. And it's
and having this conversation just makes me feel like, you know, we sound like old guys, like being, you know, toxic, nostalgic, you know, for a time that was like special to us, but it wasn't really better. And I'm going, and I go, but it was, because it was physical. And the physicality of that is something you can't purchase, fake, or I mean, I don't know how to connote this or say this to anybody in a normal way, but the physical relationship of that to buying a book or buying an album, and to have an actual physical experience that's been replaced by this digital experience where nothing is physical. It's just ether and vaporware and vapor in the air. And I go, and people go, but look, you can get every song by the Beatles, and it's like, I know, there has to be something better about that. Yeah. And yet I feel something has been lost that's irreplaceable when you do that. You know?
No, I agree. I've never talked to somebody in our age group that does not miss Blockbuster or, you know, something like that. Like we all have the same conversation. Yeah, it was great. It was a Friday night. You went in, you walked around. The experience was walking around.
Yeah, I mean, the album came out, and you went down to buy the album.
Yeah.
And it was an amazing physical experience of life. Going to a location.
I'm trying to keep it alive, but it's you know, and I enjoy it because it is something that, you know, there's never hardly anybody in there. You know, you walk in a record store, and that's what, every time I'm on the road, I hit a record store because I feel like those are going to be the most interesting people. And so whatever little town I'm in, if they have a record store, then, you know, I'm set for the day. And so I go in there, I look through the vinyl, you know, it's a fun.
Yeah, I know. Now going through your record collection and picking up that vinyl record and putting it on the turntable and dropping the needle on that. I know if I had a record player here, like I might be like, just hit a button on my phone and listen to that section, you know, like, and I see the appeal of that. I'm not an idiot, you know, like,
no, I almost want to get you a record player. I'm gonna like, and
I have one.
Oh, you do?
I have one.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's not, but I don't use it. I did. I have it. I haven't thrown it away. It's somewhere down in the environs of my storage unit down there. I think
you need
to
dust
basement.
it off. And
I know. Because there's nothing like that scratchy sound.
Yeah. Put on Born to Run and just like sit back and, like, you know, I like it. And I like the idea of getting up and turning it over, and like, God, we're so freaking lazy. Like, it's good to be active.
Yeah, and the other thing is, I like the fact that you have to suffer through one or two shitty songs because the work involved.
Yeah,
it's like I always use Springsteen, Born to Run, the album. There's a song Night on there, which is, you know, it's not the worst song in the world, but it's not the song that anyone puts on Born to Run to listen to. It's the one song that everyone forgets about because everything else on there is magical. There's City Across the River. There's fucking Born to Run. There's Jungle Land. There's Thunder Road. There's and I'm forgetting. She's the One. I pretty much have Backstreets, and then there's Night. Okay, which no one remembers and no one wants to hear. Like, and it's weird. Into the Night. It's like a hodgepodge of all the other songs, like a few of the hooks, but there's nothing about Night that you want to go, oh, great, I can't wait till Night comes on by Springsteen. Nobody's ever said that, right? Okay.
When is he going to play that at the concerts? Huh?
When is he going to play Night? And he doesn't. But you had to suffer through Night to get to, and I can't remember now. I'm blanking out on what came after Night, but it was like Jungle Land was right after Night or something. But no, City Across the River, I don't remember. But Night was the one piece of filler on the album, and you had to put up with it, and you had to listen to it, and you could skip the needle, but that was a lot of work. So fuck it. You know, there's something very, like, we've missed about that because we have way too much capacity to play God and just skip stuff and just go to the greatest hits and to sing. Suffer through an album. Suffer through an entire album of pretentiousness to get to like the 5 great songs on there.
That's what life's about. Filler. You know, you got to go through the good and the bad. You can't just do all the good
Yeah.
want to appreciate the good.
Exactly. Nobody wants the bad. Nobody wants to hear Night by Springsteen. No, Damn the Torpedoes has got Refugee. It's got Don't Do Me Like That. It's got whatever the fuck. There's like 4 other. It's Even the Losers is on there, but there's a couple on there that you go, all right, I want to get through that to get to the other songs, but and then there's an album like Boston that has nothing bad on it. Like I can't, but anyway, that's the sad loss. Nobody wants to hear a shitty song. We've lost that.
All right, you got to hear shitty songs, kids, here on Twitch. You got to hear them.
Yeah, they're out there.
They make you stronger.
Yeah. That's what we got to deal with.
This has been a fun one. It was, next week we'll write more. This week,
that's
right. We had to get it out. Our brains went somewhere and we went with it.
We covered race. We covered toxic masculinity. We covered not being we have to, avoid the appearance of gayness. By the way, the appearance of gayness it will be the name of my new HBO special, right? The appearance of gayness, right?
You're in full dress. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All right, brother.
All right, everybody.
Always a
See you
pleasure.
soon.
All right, man.
Yay.
Yay. We did it again. We killed another hour. We killed the hour.